The Boox Note Air 5 e-ink tablet. Used to work this slowly, but that's normal, given the technology used in e-ink devices. That's how they all work, but after a recent update, they've enabled the new smooth mode. And check this out, the change is dramatic. Scrolling works almost the same as on a conventional organic light-emitting diode or in-plane switching screen, but with all the benefits of e-ink displays. This new software trick from Boox completely changes the game. That's why now the Boox Note Air 5C tablet is really worth it. And if the slowness of this type of technology was what held you back, that has just changed forever. Here I'm going to show you how this tablet performs with all kinds of content, activating that new mode on social media, videos, and games. And I'll also tell you what I like the least. Because unfortunately, not everything is good about this Boox tablet, which is already breaking sales records worldwide. But let's start with the unboxing of this e-paper tablet with color electronic ink, which changes everything. Have you already seen the official case that comes by default? It can be adjusted in an origami style, and now let's look at another case with a keyboard. This is one of the things that changes compared to the previous version. This case does have to be purchased separately, but as you can see, it has the same design. It includes a USB Type-C port on the keyboard itself, and later you'll see in more detail how it works. But I can already tell you that it's a delight for those who want to type, for example, any work or any novel on a color e-ink screen. And now, here you have the new Boox Note Air 5C in all its glory. And let's get to the point I like the least about this tablet, which is its stylus, its pen. Can you already see that it changes considerably compared to other versions? It has a kind of metal adjustment clip. The rest is made of plastic with a certain texture, and it also includes replacement tips inside. But soon you'll see why I didn't like this stylus at all. But let's continue with the unboxing. Here we have a pretty thick, sturdy USB-C to USB-A cable, and there's also a little pin for the SIM card tray, papers, warranties, and so on. Here it is, the Boox Note Air 5C. The design is very similar to the previous version. The back is metal and the front is glass, with a film that simulates paper. But what changes the most are these pins that make it compatible with a keyboard. It weighs 440 grams, about 20 grams more than before, but stays 5.8 millimeters thick. However, the back gets dirty easily and looks a lot like the previous version. I'm not surprised that the current price difference between the two is around $30. Let's talk about the USB Type-C ports. In the center, there are two microphones, a card slot that supports micro SD cards up to 2 terabytes, and two speakers at the ends. You'll hear them later. The fully rounded frame gives this e-ink tablet added ergonomics. On the other side, there's nothing, while here you have 2 volume keys sticking out from the frame. They're easy to find by touch, and on the other side there are 2 more microphones and an unlock button with a fingerprint sensor that's flush with the frame. The button travel is great, and this shows how it fits in my hand so you can see the tablet's size. And now, let's dive into this Boox Note Air 5C. And I can already tell you that I've been using it for a few weeks, and I think it's the best tablet that Boox has ever made. You'll see why in my upcoming writing test. Thank you. Unfortunately, this is a step back from other versions, and it's this stylus. You can see that the convex shape of the frame makes the flat stylus not fit well, right? But it also has a magnet closer to the volume down button, and sometimes the volume stays activated, so the tablet locks up when the stylus attaches to the frame that way. Also, the replacement tips are inside this cap, which, by the way, no longer has an eraser. It's a magnetic cap that can sometimes come off accidentally, and you might lose a tip. Please, Boox team, it's time for you to make a stylus with a slightly concave side so it fits perfectly onto that frame. Convex. I still think the best stylus with the best attachment is the one from the Remarkable Paper Pro. By the way, you can find the review on the channel, and I'll compare it later with this Boox Note Air5C. And before we get to smooth mode, take a look at the reflections. This is something I love. The electronic ink technology handles them much better, and that plastic film disperses reflections even better than conventional screens. To access smooth mode, just go to the e-ink center. Until now, there were two modes, high definition and speed. Speed was the fastest, but now they've added smooth mode, and this is where the game changes. You'll see a comparison with the Note Air 4C, the earlier version, with the previous software. Here's the speed mode featured on the new Boox tablet. As shown in these slow motion scenes, the difference is very noticeable. I hope that this new update, which enables smooth mode, also comes to different Boox tablets, and doesn't just stay on the 5C. Currently, I have another 7-inch Boox that hasn't arrived yet. This update didn't enable the mode, but I hope they add it later. The downside of this mode is that it leaves quite a bit of ghosting. You can already see it, but can you refresh the screen and remove that ghosting? You already know that this gesture can be enabled in the browser and in gestures, and you can already see how fast it feels. Honestly, there is some ghosting. It's a spectacle compared to what there was before. Now, you can enable speed mode, but I recommend using smooth mode for scrolling. High definition mode, as you can see, is much slower. And that's the one I would recommend, for example, for reading comics or consuming static content, because it's true that images are much better compared to the other modes, but it's much slower. As you can already see, and how would a video look, for example, in this high definition mode? That is, the mode meant for reading comics. Well, you can see that it's pretty much unworkable. If you turn on smooth mode for video, it's the fastest, smoothest video I've ever seen on an e-ink screen in the history of this channel. And you already know that I love this kind of technology. I've reviewed many brands, many devices, including the latest Boox Palma 2 Pro, but I've never seen anything this smooth. It's true that e-ink screens at this point, Kaleido 3 D10 4K with 3 inches 300 pixels per inch in black and white and 150 pixels in color, don't look as good as an organic light-emitting diode. It's like seeing a Harry Potter-style newspaper, an interactive one with moving, mostly muted colors. And the thing is, e-ink screens are very different from any other panel, probably including the screen you're watching this video on right now. The good thing about this is that it's soothing for your eyes. It lets you use these kinds of screens for more hours. It doesn't tire your eyes, you don't get eye fatigue, and even at night, you can sleep better. In other words, it doesn't disrupt your circadian rhythms like other organic light-emitting diode or in-plane switching screens do. P.S. Now let's talk about the hardware and software. You can already see the fingerprint sensor, how fast it works. Well, fast in quotes considering it's a color e-ink device. And pay close attention because in the future, I'm going to bring you the world's first color e-ink smartphone running at 30 frames per second that's coming soon. And you can already see that the software is very similar to other tablets with bugs that I've tested on this channel. And, well, regarding the battery, despite being quite light and less than 6 millimeters thick, it houses a 3,700 milliamp battery, the same as the previous generation. I did like that they added more battery controls. For example, now you can limit it to 80%, which helps extend the battery's lifespan. However, I've noticed that in smooth mode, it uses quite a bit of battery, and its duration will depend a lot on how you use it. For example, using it in airplane mode just for reading can make it last a week or more. If you use Wi-Fi often, keep brightness high, and use smooth mode, the battery may last about 3 days. What are you seeing on the screen? I recommend turning it on and enabling it so that the niche key works on the physical keyboard you're about to see. And well, how do you set it up on the physical keyboard? What is this? I think this is what changes the most compared to the previous generation. Well, as you can see, it's magnetized, its pins connect directly, it acts as a cover, and the screen tab should rest on that raised area, which is also magnetized. It's strong and automatic. When this happens, check the screen to see and enable multiple functions and shortcuts. Just look at all the keyboard shortcuts. Honestly, it's unique. In Boox, I haven't seen so many shortcuts on other color e-ink tablets. If you want to know them all, and what is it like to work on a Boox e-ink screen in daily use? I made a video some time ago. I think it could be quite useful for you regarding the key layout. I think it's pretty good. That said, I do miss having a trackpad. If you want a keyboard with a trackpad, you'll need the tablet, the biggest, most expensive one from Boox. By the way, it's the Boox Tab XC, the first 13.3-inch screen. Kalido 3 in the world with a keyboard and trackpad. This channel has the first Spanish review. The tablet's keyboard also includes a trackpad. Now let's move on to the hardware. It has the same processor as the previous tablet, a quad-core, 6 GB RAM, and 60 GB, 24 GB internal storage. This is an improvement. It comes with Android 15, and you can already see it. Instagram, for example, offers the smoothest social media experience I've seen on this type of screen. And I've even tried some other apps that are a bit more demanding in terms of performance, like Google Earth. And once again, I'm surprised by how fast the new smooth mode is. By the way, both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and so on have worked very well for me. I haven't had any issues. And look, how is this tablet with Boox able to run games? You should know that it's not really designed for this. Its hardware, its processing power, isn't meant for running games, but it does it very well. Above all, I want to emphasize once again this impressive new smooth mode. At this point, by the way, I'm glad to upload videos at 60 frames per second because I think you can better appreciate the speed compared to videos uploaded to YouTube at 30 frames per second. It's the smoothest game I've ever seen in history on a color e-ink screen. This is the way to go, and I think we're going to see great things in the future. By the way, I'm using this game so you can hear how the two speakers of this Boox Note Air5 sound. But let's talk about writing and how this stylus is used. By the way, can you see that it has some functions even without touching the screen? The Samsung Galaxy styluses also offer this feature. I like it, but if you buy this device, it's mainly for reading or note-taking. To highlight, you can already see how the Boox Book app itself moves, right? And once again, Boox proves that it's the company with the most mature software I've tried so far. Everything works perfectly, and every update adds interesting features. By the way, I recommend enabling the artificial intelligence mode because this will recognize certain things like geometric figures, for example, or being able to erase since the stylus lacks an eraser and only scribbles. Honestly, I find this very useful. You can write however you like, using 16 colors with a pen, fountain pen, pencil, brush, and more. Not just in the Boox Notes app, but you can also do it in PDFs, in EPUB, in practically any format. You can see that, as with other tablets I've tested on this channel, holding down any shape, including underlining, makes the pen improve it. The straight line becomes straighter. Also, can you see all the templates available? This is amazing for work, for taking notes, etc. It even has music staves, as you can see, right? The shapes have also been improved with the latest updates. Now they have more useful dynamics, for example, for math students or students of any kind of arithmetic. Can you see the triangle angles yet? These are small details that make a difference compared to other tablets and other software that aren't as polished as Boox. It lets you create specific shapes as well as any shape you want. It improves it, gives it a certain angle, and then you can change and refine each vertex however you want. Also, it lets you export importable network graphics, PDF, text, in the Boox format itself. In other words, many formats so you can share. You can export everything or just a specific document. It's comprehensive and improved over other software. And now, let's listen to how the new stylus sounds on this Boox Note Air5. More than 4,000 pressure levels. Can you already see how fast and how good it looks? Also, That film gives it a certain paper-like texture. Even so, it doesn't reach the level of the remarkable Paper Pro, which isn't a plastic film, but the glass itself, the one that's porous. And to this day, when it comes to feeling like paper, it's still the king. And speaking of that remarkable, take a look at this comparison. Here you have the best Note Air from Boox against the best Remarkable. They are completely different concepts, totally different designs, and even the screen technology is different. Of course, this technology can work without light. You can already see how both tablets would look without any kind of light. But how well does the LED light work at night? Well, let's take a look at this comparison because there are differences here too. You can already see that the light is more intense at maximum on the Boox and it has a white light. On the other hand, the Remarkable only has a light that's more like a warm tone. When we set the warm light on the Boox, it's noticeably warmer than the Remarkable. The Boox wins here. However, if you've seen any of my other videos where I've reviewed another e-ink device, you already know what I always say. And the important thing here is who can lower the brightness more and better, meaning who can reach a lower minimum brightness level. And at this point, the Remarkable is definitely above the Boox because it can go lower. So, what's the price of the Boox Air5C? It's $529.99 for the standard version and $606.99 with a keyboard. Both are slightly discounted. I like that the standard pack includes the case and also the stylus, as well as replacement tips. So, what's my conclusion after testing the Boox Note Air5C for a while? It's that it was worth waiting for the new software update that adds the smooth mode because it changes absolutely everything. If you enjoy reading newspapers or websites on your tablet, but want less eye strain without sacrificing organic light-emitting diode speed, Boox has achieved it with a software trick that I find really useful and that changes the game, as I said at the beginning. Also, this version includes a keyboard for all of you who want to write, and if you're not interested in the keyboard, you can go for the previous one, to the Note Air 4C, because they are quite similar. Hopefully Boox will add this new software that enables smooth mode to all its devices. Anyway, you already know that I love this technology, and if you have any questions, you can leave them below in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't, and leave a like to support more content. The best technology in the world, and the most interesting with these spectacular landscapes, nature and technology together. Here on your channel, Test to Do. See you in the next video. Greetings and see you soon.